Welcome back to the first of many Racing All-Stars. Because for 20 points in summer of Series 33, you can go ahead and grab yourself the number 66 Ford GTLM. Or as the game calls it, apparently the GTLM. This thing has a whopping 530 brake horsepower with 494 foot-pounds of torque while weighing a shade under 3,000 pounds with a 3.6 litre engine. And fun fact, as far as I can tell, this was the reason why we have the newer version of the Ford GT, which was made as a homologation or road-going special of this car so they could race it. To be honest, it does look pretty cool indeed, and I'm happy that we've got a few more cars back into here now for like proper motor racing and stuff. We also have ourselves the Michelin tyres, and we of course have got ourselves another player over there. Going to the inside, it does look pretty cool. As you can see, we've got ourselves a little bit sat further back, I assume, compared to the regular Ford GT. We of course have our rear view screen down there, and our very fancy looking racing wheel. Now let's go ahead and take a listen to that 3.6 litre engine. So here we are now over in the upgrade shop, and the first thing we're going to do is go straight to conversion and see what we've got for engine slots, because we have got ourselves just one, and it is the Racing V6 twin turbo, which is quite a very powerful engine. If you want to, we can also go ahead and make this thing all-wheel drive, which we will do in just a little bit, so feel free to stick around for that. In terms of aero, I think it's kind of obvious, and let's go over to, actually no, we'll go to platform and handling in a moment, but the first thing we'll do is go over to tyres and rims, because this thing starts out on full full slick tyres I should say, and you can go ahead and take it back down to semis, which will take it down into S1. And of course we want this thing to actually be drivable, so we're going to go ahead and throw on a couple modifications to this thing, starting out with definitely some bigger tyres. And well, we'll go ahead and see what else we can do. If I only got 2 upgrades from here, we can take off the restrictor plate, taking us to 700 and I think 780 brake horsepower. And then if we want to, we can go ahead and equip this thing with anti-lag, which is pretty cool because the flames on this thing come out from the sides rather than the back of the car. Going to platform and handling, we can go ahead and also make this thing lighter, which we are certainly going to do at 2,760 odd pounds. And well, we don't have much in the way of sort of, I guess, springs and dampers and suspension options, because the race one is the base version for this and stock. Going to drivetrain, we of course have the option to go ahead and throw in a 7-speed should we so wish to, which I think we might... No, I think we'll leave it for now and see what we get. And we also have the option to change the differential as well, but the race differential is again the stock option for this, and is what we're going to keep. So with those upgrades applied, we're now at £2,763, 780 brake horsepower, and we're at S2 at 972. Fun fact, I originally started this at around 3:30 to go and get this car, and I'm recording this video at pretty much 20 to 9 later that same day. So they definitely took a while. So our regular tuner, Big Macintosh, has also made several different tunes for these things, and the share code for them will be linked in the description should you want to go ahead and try those out when they're released. I say that because they're not released at the time of recording, but at the time of video upload they should be out by now. And also the aero on this thing is tunable, so we are definitely going to go ahead and set a little bit of this to cornering, and we'll keep the back, I think, for speed, just so we can try and keep the car a bit more planted. So going over to the paint shop, we have actually got a couple of advanced options. I did not expect that. Going to option number 1 is for the main body of the car, and option number 2 is, let's go ahead and see if we can spot what it is. Can we? Oh wait, you can paint okay, that's cool. That is actually really cool. Can I paint that to match the colour of the car, or thereabouts? Hey, I can. That's actually really cool. And as you would have guessed, this thing only has one manufacturer colour. So as far as I can tell, around 4 of these cars were actually raced. The number 66, 67, 68, and I believe the number 69 car as well. Now what we've got here is the number 66. Now you'd have thought, because they've added this one into the game, that this was the one that won. No, that was car number 68. We have number 66, which finished in an amazing 4th. But the number was put on there to commemorate it being 50 years since the last time that anything had raced at Le Mans from Ford. Honestly, you'd have thought we got number 68, but I guess somebody can go and make that livery and I'll just apply it to this after the video. And away we go, we are racing in the damp, which is going to be a fantastic start. There's, I think, maybe one other GT car here. The other car in front of us is Bugatti Divo, which is about as far from a Le Mans car as you can get. Now this thing is very interesting, because I saw Mac actually preparing some of the racing tunes for this earlier, and it looked very difficult to control. And also the brakes on this thing when it's stock are absolutely horrendous. I genuinely don't know how it was raced with those brakes, seeing how bad they are. But we're going to try and go ahead and see if we can recreate what happened at Le Mans and try and win this race. And if anybody happens to know of a good faithful Le Mans replica circuit, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Though I think I'm going to be looking at the Forza Creators Guild for this one. There's a massive BMW right there, and past we go, overtaking the Ford, not the Ford, I'm an idiot. There we go, now I'm finally going in a straight line. I've got to say, maybe picking this track wasn't the greatest idea, because like I said earlier, we are on full Michelin racing slick on damp ground. With a car, you know, 780 brake horsepower, absolutely abhorrent brakes, and apparently little in the way of turning, despite the fact we got the aero all the way pretty much to turning, so it would turn, and it still isn't. To be honest, now I can see why this car ended up in 4th. Now, one of the first Ford wins at Le Mans was actually in another GT car known as the GT40, which was 50 years to the day that one of these cars managed to cross the line, the Chip Ganassi Racing Ford GT. Can that BMW please move? I'm trying to make an important speech here. Alrighty, and across the line we go! With not a very good place, I'm not gonna lie, we ended up just one place shy of what we did in Le Mans, and finished in 5th. Well, that sure was interesting. I'm pretty sure this thing will probably do better on a much drier track, but in the meantime, we're going to go straight over to engine swaps. We're going to throw in the Racing V6 Twin Turbo. We're going to make this thing all-wheel drive because, well, I think you know where this is going. We're going to go ahead and probably commit many crimes against racing and throw drag tyres on this thing. I can hear many people being very mad right now. So after all that, we're now at £3,015 with 1,460 brake horsepower for 105,000 credits, and we're further down S2 than when we started with the race build. To be honest, if you did some different combinations with this thing, you could probably get this even further down into S1. Okay, and now after all that, I've got to go ahead, sit here and tune the whole car, including the 7-speed gearbox, the suspension, the aero, and everything else that goes along with this, so I'll be right back. Also, can't forget, let's go ahead and tune the aero straight back to speed. Alrighty, here we are now over at the back of the festival. Let's go ahead and see, do we get a wheelie check from this thing? Nope, absolutely nothing. Although I'm sure if Matt gets hold of this thing, then it will most definitely end up wheeling. Zonda, yeah, no, this isn't one, okay? This is a Ford GT. Anyway, let's go ahead and get ourselves onto launch control, and away we go. 1,460 brake horsepower, which is absolutely insane in this thing. Genuinely mad. This thing is just a shade over £3,000, but it is still a pretty quick indeed. 212 through the edge of the camera, and then going off the end of the runway at 230, no, 240, 250. I need to brake, otherwise I'll be in a rock. I still ended up in the rock anyway. Something tells me that's going to be a very expensive repair bill. Well, it did a lot better in a straight line than it did in the turns, which is ironic because this thing was made for Le Mans, which is a straight line and turning circuit. Believe it or not, some circuits actually do have corners, and this thing apparently wasn't a fan of them. Let's go ahead and throw on the racing tyres. We'll also go ahead and change out the off-road suspension straight back to some racing suspension, which is just there. Perfection. And I think that's all we need to change. By the way, there's a subscriber that keeps asking if he gets any references in a few of my videos, so here's one for you. Hi Dan. So before we go any further, here is this week's Forzathon shop. We've got the number 23 at Porsche 917 or 917 from 1971, the black wrestling mask, the black wrestling outfit, the Mercedes-Benz AMG CLK GTR, which is a very old name and a very cool car, and also had a little bit of a go at Le Mans, if you know you know. And we also have the Mexican hat dance car horn, which sounds a bit like this. Oh, I was kind of hoping for the rest as well, but cool, that bit's okay. Going over to the other side here, we've got the Horizon Super Wheel Spin and the regular Horizon Wheel Spin as well. And now let's make our way straight back out to the motorway. Okay, here we are. We've got a pretty cool car and a lot of open ground in front of us. Let's go ahead, get ourselves on launch control once again, and away we go with the 1,400 horsepower piece of racing history. And hopefully we'll get a good top speed out of this thing. I'm aiming for probably around 250 to 270. So let's go ahead and see if it does that. I mean, to be fair, we're currently in the speed zone at 260 something, so I'd say that's doing pretty well. And we go out of the speed zone at 267.69, and we are still accelerating with a lot more downhill and camera still to go, so let's keep going. Okay, and through the camera we go, 272.16, going downhill, 273, 274. Do we get any quicker? No, we do not, just 274. Although, to be fair, saying that, it is 274 out of this thing, which is absolutely incredible. But then again, this is a race car. It was kind of built to do that. But there was one thing this car wasn't built to do. Yep, that's right. We're taking this thing drifting. So let's go ahead, throw this thing in here and see what we get. We are very sideways, a slight bonk off the bridge, which is not fantastic. And out the other end at 43,285 points for the first run, which is, you know, pretty decent for this thing. I mean, to be fair, any car that gets the 40,000 point range is honestly incredible. And now we have to go ahead and take this thing back the other way, so back in we go. This is the scary part, because I end up hitting the edge of that bridge, and it's going to happen again. Yep, it did. Let's see if we can try and solve this. Can we resolve it? Can we get anything good? We can. 34,699 points. I really must start learning how to avoid that bridge. So that is this video for the number 66 Ford GT. It is a pretty cool car indeed, only if it did get 4th place in Le Mans, while car number 68 got the 1st place, which is... Again, I'm still a little mad that we don't have the number 68, which got the 1st place, but you know what? We've still got this one, which is pretty cool indeed. And like I said earlier, someone's probably going to go ahead and make a delivery for number 68 anyway, so I'll go ahead and apply out to this. There's a bunch of cars there, I don't know what they're doing. Okay. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll go ahead and see you all in the next one. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Tech out. See ya. I had a look at liveries, there's only Golf and Le Mans. Number 68 isn't here yet.